welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to be tackling a puzzle that has a perfect 100% approval rating over on Logic Masters Germany. It's called Who's the Man in the Mirror? I don't know what the answer to that is. When I look in the mirror, it's often me. And it's by Christounet. A solver, well, he is a good solver, but also a setter of just profound brilliance. Now, this puzzle incorporates a rule I have never seen before called a mirrored digit, where basically, I think this is just like killer Sudoku, except that, for example, a 2 could have the value of 8, a 3 could have the value of 7, a 4 could have the value of 6, etc. in the puzzle, which sounds absolutely mind-boggling. But this is what we're going to have a go at. This has been recommended to us many times, and I've no doubt it's brilliant. But I've got a few things to tell you about before I read you the rules. I'm going to start off with a shout out for Derek Orr, who on a recent trip with his wife to, is it Salem, Massachusetts? Is that how you say that? Was eating in a diner and found CtC Pancakes to eat. I mean, I'm delighted to see it too. CtC Crumble is incorporated into CtC Pancakes. I think Derek did say that this might stand for Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I don't think it does. I think this is clearly somebody who watches the channel and is serving pancakes, which probably are my favourite food. They're probably even better than chocolate cake. Although pancakes, of course, as with chocolate cake, they need to be served properly, and pancakes are only proper pancakes if they're thin and if they have sugar and lemon on them. Then they are absolutely, they have a certain je ne sais quoi. So anyway, Derek, thank you for that. The next bit of news is, do check out, we showed you this yesterday, X by Hugo Schneider. If I get time, I'm going to have a go at that this afternoon. I did do some reading up on Sudoku 6x6 theory, which is apparently necessary to solve the puzzle, so I feel better armed than I was in order to tackle that one. So there'll be a link to that if you want to have a go at it under this video. And if I do manage to solve it, either it'll be a Patreon video or a channel video, depending I suppose on how much sort of arcane knowledge we feel is necessary. Other news, the Skunk Works have been working hard on a new Sudoku hunt for our Patreon reward for October, which isn't actually that far away. Trick or treat. So another whole series of 6x6 Nexpeditions coming up from the Skunk Works. So that's going to be absolutely brilliant. And you've still got just about a week to send in your solutions for Lines and Shapes, which was our Sudoku hunt for September. Lots of you seem to be tackling that with aplomb. And that of course gives you the chance to win the hat, the CtC merch that we launched this month as well. Now, what else do I need to tell you? Birthdays. Let me look at my birthday list. David, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your girlfriend Victoria wrote to us. I will tell you, David, that Victoria's first email didn't include the details of your name, so I chased her up on that, but she was able to provide your name in the end. So I hope you have a brilliant birthday today with chocolate cake, of course. And next, Matthew, from your friend Alex. Matthew, I am so sorry, because Alex let slip that you're on, is it a ketogenic diet at the moment? I had to look up what that meant. It doesn't sound good, my friend. It really doesn't sound good. Literally nothing sweet, and only things that seem to incorporate an awful lot of protein, and unfortunately definitely no cake unless you cheat. I'm not saying anything, but chocolate cake with a ratio of 1-to-1 icing to cake, it's a nice thing to eat, Matthew. And then finally, Noelia, it's your birthday, so I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I know this because your boyfriend Alvaro wrote to us, and apparently Noelia watches every night, and Alvaro has been sort of converted to the wonders of Cracking the Cryptic as well, and watches when he can. So Noelia, happy birthday for today. I hope you have a great day. I think that's all the news. Let me just Let me just perambulate through my mind and think whether there's anything else I meant to say that there could be. I'm not sure, but I want to tackle Christounet's puzzle, so let's have a look at that. I'll read you the rules. They are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each into every row, into every column, and into every 3x3 box. The values of the cells in a cage must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. Although in the version I've got, it doesn't say of the cage, it says poof the cage. It's got PF rather than OF. I suppose O and P, yeah, O and P are next. So whoever's put this in this as software for me has had a slight typo there. I will try to remember to get that corrected before the video goes live. So these 4 squares have to add up to 10. Those 3 squares have to add up to 17. Right, digits. Oh, Maverick. Hello, Maverick. Digits may not repeat in cages, but values may repeat. Digits may, but oh, okay. This is because of the mirroring rule. What does that mean? So let's look at that 22 cage. That means that whatever is in this cell, say that cell was a 5, then you couldn't put 5 anywhere else in this cage. So in particular, obviously 5 is ruled out of those squares by Sudoku, but you couldn't put 5 in those 2 cells. That would repeat a digit, and that would be too naughty for words. Now, here's the weird rule. In every row, column, and 3x3 box is a mirrored digit. It takes the value opposite to its own value on the 1 to 9 scale. Brackets. In other words, 1 takes the value of 9, 2 takes the value of 8, and 9 takes the value of 1. So they sort of swap. So high digits become low, and low digits become high, and each digit from 1 to 9 is mirrored once. There you go. They are the rules to Christounet's puzzle. Do have a go. Christounet's puzzles are absolutely first rate. And the way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I have to say that I can see that I might need my Scrabble bags for this puzzle, because it's rather shouting Fistamafel at me. Yeah, I mean, there's clearly something going on to do with the Fistamafel ring. So, what do I mean by the Fistamafel ring? Well, it is a theorem. I'm all over my Sudoku theorems at the moment. It's a theorem that states that the 2x2 thingies in the corner of a Sudoku are the exact same 16 digits as the 16 digits in this ring that sort of surrounds the central 3x3 box of the Sudoku. So these 16 cells will contain the identical digits to these green corner 2x2s. And you might say, well, hopefully that's blown some of your minds, because when I first became aware of that, it blew me away completely, and you can prove it very easily. The way to prove it, you can think about Scrabble, but the way to prove it is to highlight some cells in the grid. Let's highlight those cells in the grid with, actually I'll use blue and orange. I'm trying to be more colourblind friendly at the moment. So let's take a look at these blue cells. Now, we don't know how the digits are disposed within these blue cells, but I can tell you very precisely what in total those blue cells are made up of, because the blue cells in total incorporate 4 sort of Sudoku units 1 to 9. There's 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9 in blue, and we know that because that's a complete box of the Sudoku, so that's going to contain the digits 1 to 9. That's a complete box of the Sudoku, so that's going to contain the digits 1 to 9. This row is going to contain the digits 1 to 9, and this row is going to contain the digits 1 to 9. So blue in total is 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. Sorry, that was actually quite a well-timed phone call from Mark, which I decided to take because we've got a lot going on at the moment. But that's because I'm in the middle of something that isn't really relevant for the solving. I'm just trying to prove Fistamafel. So we've got our 36 cells in blue. Now I'm going to highlight some different things in orange. There we go. Boom. And we can describe exactly what the orange cells are, can't we? We've got That's a complete column of the Sudoku. That's a complete column. So again, a column of the Sudoku must contain the digits 1 to 9. So we've got 4 complete columns in orange. So let's just pause and reflect on what we've highlighted here. We've highlighted 36 blue cells. We've highlighted 36 orange cells. And we know in total the blue cells contain the digits 1 to 9 4 times. And the orange cells also contain the digits 1 to 9 4 times. So we know at this point that the orange set of digits and the blue set of digits, these 36 cells that are highlighted, they contain in total the same thing. So now, what would happen if I removed this cell? Just have a think for a moment to see if you can figure out this cell obviously it's in both orange and blue, and if I remove it from orange and blue, how have I changed the orange and the blue sets? Well, obviously now I've got 35 cells highlighted in both, and what's more, I don't know exactly what's left in blue and orange because I don't know what this digit is. But the fact is that whatever it is, I've taken it out of both sets, and before I took anything out of both sets, the sets were equal. And if I take the same thing out of both sets, they're still equal, aren't they? So I can repeat this process for all of these squares. And just by making anything that's in both colours, we can just remove it, and we reach this position where we've got 16 cells of blue remaining and 16 cells of orange remaining, but we know, because we've sort of iterated to this position, that blue and orange are still the same sets of digits. We don't know what the digits are. It could be anything, but we do know they're the same, and that's great. So that is the proof of the Fistemefel ring. Now we actually have to do some solving, though. So the reason that this looks like it's shouting at me is that these cells here, it's complicated though, isn't it? It is complicated because we've got some additional cells in the cages. But, I mean, these cells, if we ignore mirrored digits for a moment, they add up to 4. They contain digits that sum to 40. Well, that cage sums up to 40 almost on its own. So something bonkers is going on around the middle. Let me just do the sum of this. So we've got 32, we've got 54, 71, 80, 110. So we've got 110 in the cages. That feels far too different from 40 in these. But the 40... how is this affected by the mirrored digits? So the mirrored digits... yeah, I mean, Fistemefel is independent of mirrored digits, isn't it? I mean, if this... I suppose we can... the other thing is we can only put one mirrored digit, can't we, in a box? Let me just check the rules again. I think this is like the doubler rule that we sometimes have where... yeah, in every row and every column and every 3x3 box. So there's only one. So what we couldn't fill this with, say, 4, 5, 6, and 7, or 4, 5, yeah, and then adjust the values somehow to get down to a total. This has got to... if this has a mirrored digit, it's only got one mirrored digit in it. And the same is true for all of the 10 cages. So what do I need to do in order to get... I need to put high actual digits in the 10 cages that count as low digits because they're mirrored. So if I put a 9 in here, for example, that would count as 1 if it was a mirrored digit. And then I'd have 3 more digits that add up to 9 in the cage. But then when that 9 that's in here, because of Fistemefel, makes an appearance in there somewhere, it actually has the value of 9, doesn't it? So I've sort of I've maximised the difference between orange and blue by using the mirroring principle. And that's going to, right, so somehow this is what we've got to do. We've got to close the difference between 110 and 40 somehow. That is a massive difference, actually. So if you put the maximum you can into those squares, that would be 6, 7, 8, and 9, wouldn't it? Which is 30. So that closes the difference. That means that now we have to make the Fistomer-Fell ring contain values that add up to 80, despite the fact that they contain digits whose values in the outer cages add up to 40. So, and you can't repeat a digit. So if you turn a 9 into a 1, the difference is 8. If you turn an 8 into a 2, the difference is, so the difference is always even. So 8 into 2 becomes 6. 7 into 3 is a difference of 4. 6 and 4 have a difference of 2. Right, so the maximum difference you can generate. Yeah, I can see where this is going now. So the maximum difference that you can generate from the set of digits 9, 8, 7 and 6 is 20. So what I'm thinking is, if you put 9, 8, 7 and 6 into the 10 cages, they would have, and they were all mirrored, they would have the values 1, 2, 3 and 4 for the purposes of these cages, which means their value would be 20 lower than their actual value, because the difference is the sum of the even digits, which is 8 plus 6 plus 4 plus 2, which is 20. I know that. So that would allow me to cater for 20 of the difference between 40 here and 80 here, which is the best I can do. I've actually thought of a horrible thought, which is that these... I'm going to put that thought to one side. My thought is, what if one of these was a mirrored digit? I need to think about that in a second. But having transposed these high digits here into the ring and included 9, 8, 7 and 6 in here, which have their natural values, then what we could do is put mirrored 1, 2, 3s and 4s in the blue ring, and then they would have the values. So the 1 would have the value of 9, the 2 would have the value of 8, the 3 would have the value of 7, the 4 would have the value of 6, and that would close the gap by another 20, and that would achieve the difference that we're trying to achieve, which is the difference between 40, which is the values here, and 80, which is the absolute minimum value I can get into the ring. And but that's not quite true, I've realised, because there is another way of... we can increase this to beyond 30, can't we? Because imagine that this was not... let's miss the 6 out and replace it with a 1. And let's say that the 1 is mirrored. And now what's happened is that the value of these 4 squares is no longer 30. It's gone up. It's gone up because we've got 987, which is 24, plus 9, which is 33. 33 minus 110 is 77. So then I'd only have to make the blue cells add to 77. But I now can't use... I can't use 1 as a tricky digit anymore in the blue ring because I used it in here. Yeah, that doesn't... Right, so this doesn't work. This doesn't work because when I did put the 1 in the blue ring, I could use it to create a value of 9, which gave me a difference between a difference of 8 between sort of the minimum and the maximum. Here, by putting the 1 into here, I don't generate a difference of 8. I generate a difference of 3 between the maximum value of these squares, which is 30 plain and 33 with an adjustment. So I don't get nearly the bang for my buck for the 1 that I do if I put it in the ring. And if I don't get nearly I won't be able to create the 40 of, well, it then doesn't have to be a 40 of difference, it has to be a 37 of difference, but I've lost my most powerful piece. I've basically just knocked over my queen and said, right, now I'm going to engage you, but oh, you've turned out to be Magnus Carlsen, and I'm not very good at chess, and that way I'm not going to win. So so we are actually getting somewhere here. What we have now learned is that these don't involve naughty digits. There is one way we can close this ginormous gap between the Fistmafel boxes and the Fistmafel ring, and that is by including 9, 8, 7 and 6 in the boxes, but we don't know where they go. We just know there's 1 in each box. Okay. And then we have to include a 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the blue ring that count the other way around. So the 5 counts as 5. Hang on. So the 5... That's odd. Okay, so the 5 goes in the middle of the puzzle. Right. Yes, because what we've done here now is we've sort of... Yeah, this is going to get very complicated, actually, because I think I'm going to get rid of the blue. I'm going to get rid of the blue, and I'm going to say that orange is mapping mirrored digits, because we know that the 10 cage contains, each 10 cage must have a mirrored digit in it. And then we can see in row 3 there must be a mirrored digit in one of those squares, because there can't be one here, and yet there must be one in row 3. And that's going to ring around the rosy like this. So these are... So each box that isn't in the middle has now had its mirrored digit approximately identified. And the 5 then... Oh, well, okay, no, hang on. That cage is 3, 4, 5. Because it can't involve a 6, 7, 8 or 9. So we must take the next 3 highest digits in order to get a 12. And that's going to be a 1, 2 pair. And now these 2 squares are not mirrored digits, because there's a mirrored digit in one of those squares because it's the 5. So these squares are not mirrored. And right, and in the 24 cage, there's nothing mirrored. So that's 7, 8, 9. The 9 cage has nothing mirrored in it, so it's natural. But it can't have 3, 4. Yes, okay, so so these squares are from 1, 2 and 6. You can never put a very high digit into a 9 cage unless it involves mirroring, because if you try and put 7 in here, the other 2 digits would be a 1 and a 2 minimum, and 1 plus 2 plus 7 is 10, and 10 is higher than 9. There is a knowledge bomb for you from Cracking the Cryptic. So these squares can't include 3, 4, 5, must be from 1, 2 and 6, so the 3rd digit must also be from 1, 2 and 6. I suppose the other way of seeing that is this can't be a 1, 3, 5 cage anymore. There are 3 ways of making 9 in 2 digits. 1, 3, 5, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 6. And this can't be 2, 3, 4, because these squares, well, that square would have to be a Schrödinger 3 and 4. It can't be 1, 3, 5, because this would have to be 3 and 5. So this is 1, 2, 6. Right, and that means by Sudoku, Christounet, This is remiss, my friend. Why are you making me do Sudoku so early in your puzzle? But that square now is not 1, 2, 6 or 3, 4, 5. So that's 7, 8, 9. And that's 1, 2, 6 by the same token. Now what do we do? Well, hang about that. Oh, now hang on. No, that's fine. That's fine. I was just looking at this gauge and I was thinking, that surely can't be 8 or 9. And then I stopped myself because I realised there were adjustable digits that could go into these squares. But the adjustments in the Fistemafel ring are always increasing adjustments, aren't they? I.e., what we're doing here is round this ring, we're putting the digits 1, 2, 3 and 4, but counting them as 9, 8, 7 and 6. So if I did put 9 here, it's not like I could put 8 in here and count it as a 2, for example. That's not going to work because we know that the high digits are all in the Fistemafel boxes in order to create more difference. This is a puzzle about creating differences. So this square is not 8 or 9 because the other 4 digits must add up to at least 10. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. Yeah, hang on. And now can actually any of these be adjusting digits? Because, right, no is the answer, isn't it? Because if I did put an adjusting digit into one of these, a mirrored digit, I should give it its proper title. If we used mirrored digit, then the smallest adjustment I could make would be to put a 4 into one of these and count it as a 6. And that would increase the value of these 4 squares from their minimum natural value of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 by 2. And I can't increase it by 2 because if these added up to 12, 12 plus 6 is too many. That's 18, and 18 is more than 17. So these are not unnatural digits. So these digits are now either a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple or a 1, 2, 3, 5 quadruple. And they definitely have 1, 2 and 3 in them, and that's not 1 or 2. Right. This is very, very peculiar. It's fascinating though, isn't it? It really is. It's brain bending. So now, right, oh goodness me. Right, okay, well I've got to put a mirrored digit in this row. It's got to be there. Oh, that's huge. That's orange. It's pure orange. That one can't be mirrored now. And I've got to put a mirrored digit in this row, so that's orange. I've got to put a mirrored digit in this column, so that's orange. I've got to, so that's not, both of these aren't orange now. We've got a little X-wing of oranginess. Okay, so the question is going to be, can you put 2 orange digits? Can you put 2 orange digits in the same cage? I think maybe you can. I'm not sure. Oh, hang on. That one's got... Yes, you can, but on the basis that one's got 2 adjusting digits in it. I think the rules do allow that, actually. Digits may not repeating, but values may repeat. Yeah, okay. So there's nothing saying you can't have 2 mirrored digits in a cage. You just can't have 2 mirrored digits in a row, column, or box. Right, okay. So, what is going on with this cage then? We've got 39 to... Oh, look at that. That was never possible. Right, okay. So this cage here, what's the maximum you can make 4 different Sudoku digits add up to if they're all different digits? Well, in theory, it's 35. So there was always going to be some magic mirror going on in this cage. But actually, there's two there's 2 adjustable digits. So that's 2 low digits, isn't it? That's 2 low digits, which are from 1, 2, 3 and 4 that have values which are 6, 7, 8 or 9. So, okay, so the minimum these could add up to would be 13. Hang on a minute, let me think about this. Do we know what this is then now? I mean, okay, so if this was... How do you minimize this? You minimize it by making them 3 and 4, because they have the value of 6 and 7. If you made the if this was a 1-2 pair, they would have the value of 8 and 9. So you minimize these by making them 3 and 4. Oh no, the better way of doing it is to maximize them. Yes, okay, this digit is at least a 5. Okay, I'm going to record that. That's 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9. And the reason that's true is that if I maximize those with a 1-2 pair, these would have a value of 17. They'd be an 8-9 pair. But these could then have a value of 8 and 9 as well. That doesn't repeat a digit. It repeats a value in the cage, but not a digit. So we'd have an 8-9 here and an 8-9 here. That's 34. This still has to be at least 5 in order to get us up to 39. So that's still quite a punchy digit. That digit. This doesn't work, because that digit can't be 1 or 2. So that digit is 3 or 4. And that means it has a value of 7 or 6. So the maximum value of this now is 9. So the minimum value of this is 15. And the maximum value of this is then no, okay, I don't. What do I want to do here? I'm trying to work out whether I want to max these out or minimize them. And I'm not sure I know the answer. If this is a 3 or a 4, do I get into any trouble there? 13. I do get into trouble, actually. Yeah, so we can think about this a bit differently now. I'm sorry, I'm struggling to do this smoothly, but if this was 3 or 4, these two have a value of 6 and 7, which is 13, which requires these 3 squares to have an actual value of 26, but there's 3 different Sudoku digits. So they can have a maximum value of 24 if they were 7, 8 and 9. So this is not a 3-4 pair, so this digit is a 1 or a 2. But more important than that, that's at least, these have to add up. I know it doesn't look like they do, but they have to add up to at least 15, don't they? They have to. Because these can't add up to more than 24. And the maximum these can add up to now would be a 9 here and a 7 here, which is 16. And that means these have to add up to 23. Right, so that means that's not a 5. Because 23 would be 6, 8, 9. Okay. Wow. That's great. But what does it mean? I don't know. Okay, here's time. This is the worst point ever. This is the most useless deduction in Christendom, but I'm going to tell you it anyway. By Sudoku, the mirrored digit in this box is one of those 2 squares, which we know is a 5, so that's not a 5. That's a 3 or a 4. doesn't do anything, I don't think. Can we rule out this one having two mirrored digits in it then? So these are adding up to, well, we're not sure, are we? We know it's at least 15. It's 15 or 16. So these two digits, which must be the other digits, or have the values that are not... So yeah, these 4 digits together add up to 30, don't they? Their values add up to 30 because they represent digits. They represent 6, 7, 8 and 9. So these are adding up. So this either adds up to 15 or 14. And then we're adding that digit and that digit together to get us up as high as 32. Oh no, and that one. Oh, I thought that was going to be difficult for a moment, but it's not. We've got a big old digit sitting here. Okay, that's disappointing. Wow. So what does that mean? I don't know, I'm afraid. I'm not sure. How do we do this then? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I've got to think about... Do we know what the 10 cages are then? We know that... Yeah, that would be good. If we could work out what the digits in the 10 cages comprised of. We know there's a 9, 8, 7 and 6 counting for a 1, 2, 3 and 4 in them. But if the other digits were known, then we would know exactly what digits we have to put in the Fistmafell ring, wouldn't we? And that feels like that would be useful. But how do we get a grip on that? We know somewhere there's a 9 that counts for us as a 1. But then we could have... You see, that's difficult because you could have... Yeah, okay. So we know that there's no other 7s, 8s or 9s in the 10 cages, I think, because they would have to be natural. And that won't work, because if you put 7 in here with a 1, 2, and then with adjusted 9 that became a 1, you'd still get to 11. Right, so here's something. So the 4 corner boxes have exactly 1, 7, exactly 1, 8, and exactly 1, 9 in them. Therefore, the Fistmafell ring has exactly 1, 7, exactly 1, 8, and exactly 1, 9 in it. It'd be very useful to know that was... If that wasn't a 6, then that would be 2 of the high digits. Let me think about this. Okay, I've had a different idea. My mind flitting around as ever. Where is that digit in the 17 cage? Because we know that those digits include the digits 1, 2 and 3, don't we? But the only doubt is over whether the last digit is 4 or 5. Well, that digit's got to go there then. That's going to give me a 6 here. This is lovely. Right, that's much simpler. Look, that digit has to go there. because it has to appear in the 17 cage. So these digits are the same. Let's label that with an A. These two digits, so that means actually that's A, but while I think about it, there's a 1-2 pair now looking at that digit, which has become a 6. Let's go turn off the letter tool. So this is a 1-2 pair, which means this is a 6, which means this is a 7, and now that has not got 5 in it anymore, because 7 needs to add to 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to 17. These squares are no longer 7. That square's no longer 6. That square's no longer 6. That's in the same cage. That is right, isn't it? I can't repeat actual digits in cages. I don't think I can. So that's actually a 6 now. I've got digits in the puzzle. It's only taken me 40 minutes or so. I've got... Well, hang on now. What's going on with these digits? And this square, do we know? I know these add up to 20, was it 24 or 23, I think we worked out. I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple in this column. That feels like it should matter for some reason. There's all sorts of stuff now that's that's sort of that I think warrants investigation. So this digit goes there and there, and then in one of those two. So that A is in one of these three. Don't think that's interesting. I'm not sure. That's become a 6. I can't see how to do it. I'm not sure. Come on, Simon. Use your brain. Use your noggin. Okay. Maverick flies over again. Let's... Oh, I don't know. If you put... Ah. Oh, there's some... Right, hang on. Right, one of these cages... hang on. Right, one of these cages has 9 in it. There's a deduction. And that's because I can't put a natural 1 into both of these cages, because if I do, then if you look at the bottom rows of the puzzle, how many 1s have I put into 2 rows? I put 1 there, and 1 there. That's 3 1s in 2 rows. That cannot be true. And that means that in one of these cages, 3 of the digits that are not mirrored would have to be 2, 3, and 4, and would add up to 9. So the other digit needs to be a 9, which takes the value of a 1. But that's interesting as well. So I don't really know how to pencil mark this, but one of these, let's just make it this one for a moment. That has to be, well, it's either this one or this one. Has to be 2, 3, 4, 9. But now look at what happens the other side. Because now this one, because there's a 2 in here and there's a 2 in here, this one can't have 2 in it. Yeah, so this one has to now be 1, 3, 4 and 8, because 1, 3 and 4 is the least I could put in natural digits here. 1, 3 and 4 add up to 8. Now you might say, oh, you could have put 1, 3, 5. I can't put 1, 3, 5 in there, because then I'd need another 9 counting as a 1 for the extra digit. So I've got to go 1, 3, 4 and 8 counting as 2. So these squares... The problem is I don't know the order of them. So they always right. So but they both include. If you look at both compositions, they have 3 and 4 in them. So 3 and 4 in this row have got to be a pair there. That's got to be 3 or 4. That's infuriating. It doesn't do anything. Sorry, I realised I've stopped talking. I'm trying to see what that means. I mean, that means that digit goes up there somewhere. Okay. I don't know. I'm going to now. I think I'm going to turn my attention to these two. Do I now know what these have got in them? Because I know that I can't. One of them has got 6 in it. But the 6 is counting as 4, isn't it? Yes, okay. This is obvious actually. So, right. So the one box that's got 6 in it, counting as 4, has got 3 natural digits with the 6, which have to add up to 6. So it's got 6, 1, 2, and 3 in it. So one of these up here is 6, 1, 2, 3. I don't know. Let's make it that one. Don't know which one it's going to end up being. Now the other one's going to have 7 in it, counting as 3. So it's very odd that, because that means it's going to have the digits 1, 2, and 4. So in both of these top cages, it's almost like there's a hidden arrow, because 1, 2, and 3 add up to 6, and 1, 2, and 4 add up to 7. But that we have to remember these could be the other way round. But the critical thing here is we can do that trick again. Look, the common digits are 1 and 2. So where do 1 and 2 go in this row? They have to go here. And that is that's an adjusted digit, isn't it? That's definitely an adjusted digit. So these are adjusted 1s and 2s. And the adjusted digit here is a 3 or a 4. But it's... hang on. It can't... this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Yeah, so this is done now. Because... yeah. So... what I'm thinking is 1 and 2 have now been, we found their mirror equivalents. So we know the ring was containing 1, 2, 3 and 4 as mirrors. That digit is not the same as this digit. And this one has been mirrored. So this one needs to be mirrored. But this digit itself cannot be mirrored because it's in the same row as a mirrored digit. So so this digit is mirrored in one of those 2 squares. Well, it's not that one, because those 2 digits would be the same digit. So that one is mirrored, and that are the same digit. Let me just do some tidying up. These 2 are the same digit. Let's make those B. Let me think about that now. So that means that how do these relate to these other 3s and 4s that we've got in the grid? Let's make that one C. Yeah, okay, so C is in one of those, so C is there now. That's got to be a 3 or a 4. Now I've got a 3-4 pair in this column. And this is right. This is why this puzzle's got such an incredible rating. It's very original, but it's absolutely beautiful as well. It really is. That digit now can't be a 6, because look at the total composition of digits in the Fistemafel ring. It's a whole plethora of 1s, 2s, 3s and 4s, and then it's 1, 6, 1, 7, 1, 8 and 1, 9. Now that is a 6 that's in the ring. So I can't have another 6 in the ring, or the fundamental sort of rules of the universe would be broken. So that's now a 7, 8, 9 triple in my 39 cage, which adds up to 24. So these add up to 15, which means these add up to 15, because we know that the complements of 1, 2, 3 and 4 are the digits 6, 7, 8, 9, which add up to 30. So if these add up to 15, these add up to 15, that's a 6, which is 21. So these two digits add up to 11, and that's an 8 or a 9. So that's a 2 or a 3, and it can't be a 2, I don't believe it. So this is now 3. That square is a naked single 4. That's a 3. This is now oh, okay. So these two digits are now the same. I'm not running out of letters, but my letter distribution is getting more complicated by the moment. That's an 8, isn't it, by the rules we just established, because we worked out they had to add to 15. Let's just double check. So 15 and 17 is 32. That's lovely. Right. Now, that's 8, so that's 9. That means these are not 9. Bobbins. Okay, if that's 3, that B has become a 4 then. Let's try and do it that way. So B is 4. Well, I must have another B. So these are both 4. That's a 3. Which is the equivalent of a 7, isn't it? So that's got to be an equivalent of an 8 to make these add up to the right number. So that's now a 2. That's a 1. That's a 1. That's a 2. That's a 2. That's a 1. That's a 3 by Sudoku. Oh, now I've got to be very careful about these top thingies, because all of this could be in the wrong order. Let me just pause here and just think for a moment. There's a 4 up here. That's fine. Can we... That's not 8, look. That's quite important. So 8 is in these two digits in this 24 cage, so it's not there. So that's a 7. That's an 8. Now, we've used 6, we've used 7, we've used 8. We have not used 9, look, in the Fistemafel ring. There must be a 9, it's not here. So there's a 9 in one of those. We do the maths on this box. Ooh, yes, we can. Because this box has now got 19 in it. It needs 3 more. So this is a 1, 2, 9 triple. And that's a 9 then. It can't be a 1 or a 2. So that was quite short and sweet. That was easy enough. 2 and 1 go into there. No, now, okay, have we made an error? Yeah, well, we have, but that's fine. So we've now proved that there is a 2 here. So this cannot be 2, 3, 4, 9. This must be 1, 3, 4, 8. 1, 3, 4, 8. And this one instead becomes, let's delete that, that becomes 2, 3, 4, 9. Now, can we do the same at the top? Now, there is a natural 3 here. Yeah, that's great. So at the top we've got it right, because the 1, 2, 3, 6 can't go there, or it would clash here. Ah, this is just sensational. This is an absolutely brilliant puzzle. Okay, so that 7 means that's a 7 by Sudoku. We get an 8, 9 pair. We get a 4, 5 pair here. It's probably going to be these cages that we have to think about in a minute. That's probably how we resolve everything. Oh, no. The other thing is there's a 5 in the middle of the grid. Because, look, that 4 is a mirrored digit. So that's got to come out of there now. Oh, whoopsie, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to get rid of the colour. And the 5. So this is mirrored. So we've got this little pattern of mirrorage. How are we actually going to work out where the mirrored digits are? Oh, I see. No, it probably will work in the end, because those are not 7. We know 7 is mirrored here, so the 7 is now. So these are not, these lose their orangification, if you like. They lose their orangification, which means they can't be 6 because the 6 is mirrored in this box. So that means by Sudoku that's become a 6. Oh, I thought we were going to get the 7 as well, but no, we don't. Right, so in this column we need 5, 7 and 8. So that is 5 or 8. Oh no, where's 8 go in this column? That's easy enough, we can do that. 8, 8, 9 go in. So this has got to be a 5, 7 pair, which means this has got to be something, 6 and 9. So these squares have got to be 1 and 5. These squares have got to be 6 and 7. I actually did type the right thing then. I was so surprised I deleted it again because I assumed I would type it in wrong. Look, all of this is going in. Okay, well, 5 has to appear in that column, so that needs to go there. 9 has to appear in that column. That should be an 8 by Sudoku. Now these are not 8, which means 8's down here, which means 9 is here now. Well, that's making sense with what we've got in the grid as well. Good grief. So we're still going to somehow have to do the vertical bits and pieces of the orange digits. 1, 2 and 3 have gone from the 20 cage. 7 and 8 in this row, because there's a 7 in here and then 8 here, have to be there. So let's put that in. These have to be a 5, 9 pair. Yeah, these cages have got heavy lifting to do here, because I don't see how else we're going to get into this verticality that we've not figured out yet. That's a 9, I think. Oh, this might do it, actually. 9 has to be here, so that's got to be a 5. That's doing the 5 and the 4. Yes. So this is a 1, 2. This is a 4, 7. This is a 3, 6. So this is a 1, 2. We've got a whole load of pairs left everywhere. Can we do anything similar to that at the bottom of the grid then? And if not, why not? 4 here. So that's 4, that's 3. So 3 goes into these squares. If you put 3 in the 17 cage, does it break? Not quite. It would have to be 3, 6, 8. 3, 8, 6. I'm not sure if I can rule that out, actually. What about if there was no 8 in the 17 cage? Then it would have to be 7, 6, 4 exactly. It can't be 7, 6, 4. So there is an 8 in this cage. It still doesn't tell us where it is. There's an 8 in one of those squares. But that's great. Because if there's an 8 in one of these squares, that is not an 8, and yet we know the 8 is the mirrored digit down here, so that is now the 8, which means that is now the 7. That's a 4. That's infuriating, actually. That hasn't improved my knowledge of this cage, has it? 7 is in one of these squares. So what have we got to do here? We've got 8 in there. We need 9 more. Okay, it's not 1, 8, it's not 2, 7, it's not 4, 5, so it is 3, 6, 8, so that's got to be the 3. 3, 8, 6, 6, 9, 9, 5. That's a 3, no 3 in the corner. That's a 1, that's a 2. These squares are going to be something. Not the most erudite thing I've ever announced on the channel. That's going to be a 2. This is a 5, 7 pair, which is resolved. Okay, so that's all fine. And we still haven't done all the stuff at the bottom of the grid. But never mind, I'm sure it's possible. 3 in the bottom row has to be over there, so that's not got 3 in it. So it's going to be this 20 cage, isn't it? How does that work? That has got a 9 in it, because if it didn't, it would be 5, 7, 8, and that's going to break that square. So there is a 9 in the 20 cage. We know exactly where it goes, which is going to place the 9 here, because we know that 9 is a jolly naughty high digit. So that's not 9, and it's not coloured, and therefore that's the 6 in the corner. That's a 3, and that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, proving its position. That's lovely. Okay, so now we can uncolour this one. We've got What do these have to add up to? 11. Okay, and they're not 9, 2, 3, 8, or 5, 6. So this is 4, 7. And thankfully that does look like it's working. So that's 7, that's 8, that's 4, that's 2, that's 2, that's 1, that's 1, that's 5. Does that work at the bottom? I think it does. And these squares have got to be 5, 6, 8. So that's 5, that's 6, and that's 8. Bingo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, no, no. That does not deserve to be coloured. Oh, that would have triggered many people. Let's see if it's right. Yay! Took me a while. Took me just over an hour. 31 solvers in 4 days. Well, that's I think that is fairly tricky, though. I mean, it was. I don't know, how tricky is that? Maybe I've made a bit of a Horlicks of it. It always takes me a little bit of time to explain the Fistemafell ring. But it's just brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant. It's very well flagged. I mean, with the 4 10 cages in the corners, it shrieks Fistemafell the moment you look at it. But then actually thinking your way round to how you can create enough difference is tricky, I think. But what I think I loved almost more than that was how smoothly you could resolve the choices that Christounet's made in these cage totals and how they work, so that you can fairly quickly work out how the ones, how those low digits have to be arranged around the ring, and the way that you could actually deduce what exactly the 10 cages had to be comprised of, which of course told you exactly how the ring had to be comprised. It did things like got rid of that digit being a 6 for me. It was beautiful. It's a brilliant puzzle. Who's the man in the mirror? I've no idea. What's that getting at? Oh, is that Is it Fistemafell? Is it saying that that's a mirror? I don't know. Is this some sort of obscure reference to Dorian Gray? I don't know. I'm not sure. Someone will have to tell me who the man in the mirror is. But that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.